August 6, 2012. I want to talk about money. The Beatles had a song say, "You say the best things in life are free, what money can't buy. I don't need, give me money, it's what I want." As a 12-stepper, what I found is I need to have a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, and then carry that message to other people, to get outside of myself, because selfishness, self-centeredness is the root of my problem. That's what we believe. And that's absolutely true. And once I've learned that about spending my life in a life of service, I become free. And I don't go back to my addictions, whatever they may be. But the third part of the 12 steps says, and practice these principles in all our affairs. And it's really easy to get stuck in serving other people and abandoning myself. So what I find is that 50% of service is taking care of myself. Now that thought didn't come until the late 70s, when all the other programs that are more subtle and more advanced, programs like ACA and SLAA and SAA and CODA and all those fellowships, when they started coming out, they began to see different things that we hadn't seen in the 30s. And an idea evolved that part of loving was taking care of myself. One of the ways Debtors Anonymous talks about loving oneself is to have an income that provides for a humane way of living. And that's important to me. I didn't know. I abandoned myself because my parents abandoned me, and so that's what I learned. I internalized their neglect, and I neglected myself. And so when it came time to deal with money, I neglected myself, like they neglected me. And further, what I found is that there was a lot of fear around money. I saw my father, who was an extremely abusive man. He abused me, and then but he worshipped. I mean, he didn't get down on his knees and worship, but the highest prioritization, which is worship, was money. And so as a 5-year-old, I thought, well, if he's emotionally abusing me and he loves money, then don't love money, because this is how we end up. And that's good 5-year-old thinking, but it's not useful at 57. And so what I needed to do was find a way to take care of myself and love myself financially. And that has some real specific things. You know, do I provide enough food for myself? Is it the right kind? Is where I live clean and bright and beautiful? Is it in a neighborhood that I feel safe with, in a state or a country or a place that I like? Do I have an automobile? If I need an automobile, is it well taken care of? Have I paid my taxes? Are my bills paid on time for my insurance and my utilities? And utilities now, as we all well know, it includes internet and cell phones and things like that. Am I doing it? Have I got money for vacations? Have I got money, and this is an important part for me, for retirement. At 57, that's a very important issue for me. Have I got money to take care of myself? And this is all real scary. And a lot of people, including me, thought, well, money is not spiritual. That's not what Bill Wilson says. When Bill sees it, he says, when Ebby put a dime in the turnstile to come to his house in New York City, that's when money and spirituality crossed, and they never became uncrossed, not in 12-step history. So it says it takes a little bit of money and a lot of time. But money is part of what we do. And to love myself, to practice these principles in all my affairs, I have to be honest with myself about money. One of the things that's very addictive about debt is it creates stress. It creates stress in my neural pathways, which gets me out of my life. It's a high-risk behavior, and that's what's so incredibly addictive about it. Oh my God, they're calling me at 7 in the morning with wanting credit cards and things like that. Or there's an eviction notice on my door. And that stress is just that speed that causes from that is incredibly addictive. And so I have to let that go and go back to my life and see how I feel and use my feelings. So part of that for me is feelings-based. Part of it is family of origin-based. But what this really is practicing the third part of the 12-step. I practice these principles in all my affairs. And what I do is I'm just honest. These are my needs. Am I meeting those? If I am not meeting those, what can I do about that? Because part of loving myself, which is what I believe God's will is. I believe God's will is for me to love myself and to love you and to love God. That's what I believe. Part of that manifestation, as scary as it may sound, and if you're scared about it, believe me, it has nothing to do with God. It has to do with family of origin. So if there's a reason that you feel scared, at least for me. So I have to overcome that fear, act with courage, and take care of myself in a financial way.